ready to go. Cool. You want to go? Yeah. Awesome. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. So my name's Asanga, and I'm from the Melbourne University Buddhist Studies Society. And a bit of an introduction into what we do. Basically, we're a non-sectarian Buddhist club here at the university. So what that means is we don't focus on a particular arm of Buddhism, whether that be Theravada or Mahayana or Zen Buddhism. We like to get a variety of teachers in from a variety of backgrounds and just diffuse the teachings of the Buddha and the Dhamma through various talks. We also run mindfulness sessions on Tuesdays, meditation sessions, which you can come down to, which is from 12:15 to 1 in the Ian Potter Centre, just across the road. This is our first talk for the semester. We're very honoured and privileged to have Bhante Buddharakkhita with us to talk on, I think, a particularly relevant topic to us as university students. I know at this time we've all been going through mid-sems and we have all our assignments and load through that, and it's easy to get stressed and frustrated, and sometimes even I think, like, what am I doing studying here? Like, what's my degree actually mean? What am I going to get out of it? And it's definitely a question that's always come up in my mind, and we thought it'd be great to get someone like Bhante Buddharakkhita with some experience at university as well to give us a Buddhist perspective on that issue. And I'm going to hand it over to Camille to actually introduce our speaker.
Yeah, so I had a good fortune and a privilege to pick up Bhante today from the Buddhist Center Victoria, and we had a little conversation. I happened to get to know Bhante a little bit more. And if you don't mind sharing a few details, it was a very interesting life Bhante had so far. Lived in many different countries, including America, Thailand, and South America as well. Most importantly, he had the calling towards Dharma and got ordained in 2002, and ever since has been disseminating the teachings all over the world. One of the interesting parts that I've learned today, I'm originally from Polish background, and actually Bhante's boss, when he was a diving instructor in Thailand, was also from Poland. So I even heard some Polish words from Bhante today, which was quite extraordinary. That was the last thing I was expecting. I'm very happy to be part of this great evening today, and hope we all learn something and have some nice conversation afterwards and share and disseminate this understanding of our problems and frustrations at the university more, and hopefully some of this will dissipate after the talk today. So thank you very much for coming and being part of it. Thank you, Bhante, for joining us today.
I'm very grateful for inviting me here. Melbourne University Buddhist Society, my Buddhist Studies Society, for inviting me here. This is my fourth time to come to Australia, and the third time to come to Melbourne. I love Melbourne. So my first time I came here, I gave a talk, and I came here in 2011, and I gave a talk in Monash University. But I've never been to Melbourne University. So when I came 2015, I said, let me go and look at that campus. What's it look like? I was very curious. Took a tram, and it was a very warm day, and they walked around. I said, wow, this is very beautiful. So when this invitation came for me to give a talk here, I said, that's wonderful to share my experiences with you. And the topic is very relevant. Because you came here to the university, you want to be successful. So then you say success through adversity, subtitle University Perspective. Yes, myself having been to university and having to submit all these assignments, in fact I remember my frustration was Chinese. I was in Sri Lanka studying Sinhalese, and I love studying Sinhalese because it was just putting together different fruits together, like tomatoes and apples. The way you actually you draw the things is like drawing pictures of fruits, and put them in a line. But when I was studying Chinese, it was so difficult. It was like strokes like this. I said, no, this is so difficult. I'm not going to get my degree. I was so frustrated. I mean, I've been studying all these places in the world, and I did the economics course in the United States, in Uganda. We had to study tough subject. So I said, why am I failing to really grasp Chinese? So then I found out the teacher who was teaching us was a Chinese, but he didn't know English. So he could not put the message across. And then they tried to get around the problem by bringing a Sinhalese teacher who actually lived in China, but he was teaching it in Sinhalese, and I didn't have him. I didn't know much in Sinhalese. So the Sri Lankans were enjoying the lessons because they understood Sinhalese. But for me, I didn't understand Sinhalese, then I didn't understand Chinese. I was so frustrated. So I mobilized students and said, please, let us tell the rector to scrap off that language. But luckily, there was a student who was doing his master's program, and he had a very good skill of teaching, and he taught us Pinyin, and then I learned Chinese, even I got A. So I was so happy because I overcome the challenges, you know. So it was through actually trying to navigate around the corners and find out how am I going to pass it. Even when we got actually a teacher, we got a very good Chinese teacher. I'm telling you, the day I sat my examination in Chinese, I woke up at 3 and started practicing those talks. So I know the pressure you go through because I know for me it was Chinese. If I didn't pass Chinese, then I would not get my degree. So I know exactly what you're going through, assignments and deadlines and all these things. So let's talk about success through adversity. So for me, adversity, in order to deal with adversity, so you have to find a way how you can see this word adversity as an advantage. In other words, whatever there is a problem, you must take advantage of the problem. There's a saying which says that when God sends you lemon, make lemonade out of it. When God sends you vinegar, make honey out of it. So I want to make it a Buddhist saying, when Mother Nature sends you lemon, make lemon out of it. Make lemonade out of it. That's how I would make this. So you need to change these words. Like this is adversity, you change it into advantage. What advantage do you have, right? Then if it's like obstacles, you change it to obstacles, you change it to opportunities to learn, If it is a stumbling blocks, guess what? What do you do with some stumbling blocks? Like Chinese, stumbling blocks. For me, Chinese was stumbling blocks. Take it into stepping stones, right? On and on. If it's like I'm maintaining these S's and so that it's the same, right? S is here. So if it's trials, you make it to triumph. All right. So it's up to us to change the things, and once we actually change these things, it's amazing how we succeed actually. Really, success is more about what attitude do you have towards what you are getting. Do you love what you are getting? Happiness is more to get what you want, but success is to love what you want. So this is very, very important to change our attitudes. And in case there's a problem, for me, when I was a student, I tell them, for me, I don't have a problem, I have setbacks. So for me, a problem is it's kind of a big word for me in order to live up to. Whenever I have a problem, I say this is a challenge. So in my case of Chinese, it was more of a challenge, because a challenge is what we live up to. A problem is like that kind of obstacle that stops us from doing something. But if I say challenge, then I can move forward to live up that challenge. So success, from a Buddhist perspective, we have 4 levels of success. 4 bases of success. Those who know Pali is called Idipada. They call the 4 bases of success. Any kind of success, whether spiritual success, academic success, you must have those 4 Idipadas. 1 must be desire. You must have really a desire to succeed, right? Desire to succeed. Desire. I put in quotes because then people say, Buddhism is about overcome desire. Then why do you have desire? That's why I'm putting the quotes. And that's another talk altogether. But the Pali word is chanda, right? Chanda, having chanda, the Pali word. So you must have desire to act. Desire to act. Without this, you cannot do anything. You cannot succeed, right? So desire to be desirous, in other words, in a Buddhist perspective, desire to be desirous. So you pursue whatever you pursue, you will always be successful. And because these are 4 bases of success, they have to work as 4, you know. And then there must be effort. Without effort, you cannot succeed. You must put effort into whatever you're doing if you want to be successful. It doesn't matter whether it's business, whether it's meditation, effort is very important. In Pali it's called virya. Another one is called mind, which there's a thought. Thought of success. You must think of success. We call it mind. You keep it in the mind, not just dream about it, not just having a vision about success. In fact, there's a saying which says a vision without action is daydreaming, and action without a vision is a nightmare. Vision without action is daydreaming, and action without a vision is a nightmare. Somebody from England said that. So you must have a vision, a desire to do something, then you must have effort to do something, to act. Effort to act. You must keep it in the mind, thoughts, and then you have to check from time to time whether you're successful or not. This is discernment. 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 All right, is what what you're doing is successful or not. Then if it's not successful, you go back and then try to find other things. So this is, I think, very important to remember the 4 bases of success. We call them 4 bases of success, that when they work together, actually, you'll succeed. It's just a question of time. You'll always be successful. Then also you requested me to talk about different other things like achieving success through adversity. Then you asked me to talk about maintaining a balanced lifestyle, managing expectations, stress, loneliness, peer pressure, find meaning in your studies, and career. Wow, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot, but we'll see what we can do. There's a lot going on, it seems. Okay, so what I saw actually, that all those things are interrelated. All those things that you asked me to talk about, they're interrelated. I tried to find out how they actually feed into each other. So this is what I found out, how these things feed into the other. First, you're talking about finding meaning in your studies and career. I think this is very, very important because if you don't really find a meaning in your study and career, it's going to lead to too much expectations, unrealistic expectations. And then it's going to bring you to stress. And then when you are in that kind of area of stress, then you always feel lonely, then you have peer pressure. It's all related. This is the relationship I found out. So no meaning in studies and career, then there's unrealistic expectations. And then you live an imbalanced lifestyle, and then you have stress and distress. Then you become an uneasy prey to peer pressure. If you say yes, of course, you're going to succumb to peer pressure. And then you don't have time to do your things. And then if you say no, then all friends will go out of the window. And then you feel loneliness. And then when you feel loneliness, and then you don't find any meaning in studies. So it goes on and on in circles. So the solution is actually to have a meaning in life in general, not only finding meaning in studies and career, but you have to find meaning in life so that your studies are just, and career is just in that studies. And then once you find meaning in life, then you set reasonable expectations. And then that leads to a balanced life, and then that leads to happiness and joy. And there's no peer pressure. Then you're connected with others, you're connected with friends, and then you have meaning in life. Okay, now we start with that kind of circle like that. The first thing I think that's not the order you gave me to talk about it, but I found out this is the best way to start, is the meaning, find meaning in your studies and career. So the first solution to this is to find first the meaning in life. Once you find meaning in life, then everything is going to fit in the system. What's your meaning in life? Because that's what you first got, isn't it? That's the first thing you got, life, before you came to study. So what's the meaning in life? How do you find meaning in life? Why are we here? What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of life? No purpose? And then some people say that the purpose of life, even asking the question, the purpose of life, is already, that's the purpose of life. So in other words, the purpose of life is to keep up asking questions. What's the purpose of life? Fine. For me, I saw it very clear, practically, not by reading it. The first time I went to uni was to study Bachelor of Commerce. And it was influence of my relatives who want me to successful as an accountant. And I'm telling you, when I learned meditation, I just dropped it. That's why I'm a monk now. I'm telling you, I went to meditate in Toshita. I was in India. I got a scholarship to study in India. So the Indian government was paying for my stay there. And I went to the university in Punjab. And I was studying accounting, and I had a challenge because already 2 people had studied accounting for 2 years, and for me, I didn't study accountant and A-levels. So I had this mismatch, you know. Imagine studying with students who already studied accounting for 2 years, and for me, I'm just a beginner. So I had to go for coaching and all these things. It was a very tough journey. Of course, I did very well in accounting. So I went to meditate in the Himalayas, and I meditated, and I said, this is what I want in my life. So you see how that changed my career? And it took me years, you know. And the next time I went to uni, I just decided to take a course in economics in the University of Massachusetts. But just getting something to do, basically. But then when I became a monk, it was very clear what I want in life. And I went back to uni. I'm telling you, I just enjoyed my studies. I went to Sri Lanka. I studied a bachelor's degree in Buddhist studies. And now I moved to the MPhil, and I'm researching about trauma and how to overcome trauma using mindfulness. I'm telling you, it's such a joy to study when you know the meaning of life. So because I didn't know the meaning of life that time, as a young boy, studying bachelor degree in commerce, I wasn't valuing so much my studies, but now I'm valuing my studies, even going to for PhD. So this is very, very important to find a meaning in life. So what's the meaning of life? For me, I don't know about you. For me, the meaning of life is to attain ultimate happiness. The meaning of life is to attain ultimate happiness, and whatever you do, it's feeding that higher purpose. Whether giving talk now, whether walking, whether studying, whether my career, is just serving that purpose. So once you find meaning in life, then you are going to find the meaning in your studies, because it's what's going to serve your life, isn't it? So, but if the meaning of life is just to get money, well, then you'll be maybe a little bit frustrated. When you get a career, but you just get money, and the more money you get, the more needs. And then you say, why did I choose this course to study? I should maybe change my career, you know? But it's not about changing careers. It's about changing the attitude about your career, you know? Yeah, so even when you got already your career, so you cannot change it because you have spent all these years studying. So even when you're already locked in now as a doctor, an accountant, so you can do 2 things. Change your career, it's not too late. I did. Now I'm a monk. I'm a Buddhist. Instead of business, Buddhist. You can change your career, no problem. Anytime you can do it. But I think before you do that, change your attitude towards your career. Yeah? So in other words, love what you are doing. Once you love what you're doing, you will not have much problem. So that's one way of actually find meaning in life and in studies and career. So then it goes to the next circle, which is about how to handle expectations. Managing expectations is very easy, very easy. First ask yourself, what's expectations? Expectation is the belief that I want to get this in the future, right? That's my expectation. It's a belief of what you want to get in the future. So the way to handle expectations, at least from my understanding, is to understand what expectations are. Expectations is a form of loba. Loba is called desire, greed, desire, and it's more goal-oriented. It's goal-oriented, right? And our culture is so much goal-oriented and it forgets about the process. Now, for me, the way I handle my expectation is to substitute it with aspirations. Aspirations, very, very important word. Aspiration, aspiration, aspiration. This is more of a process. Process and expectation, 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 expectations, okay? This is more of goal-oriented. Goal-oriented. It's good to have goals, okay, goal-oriented, but don't forget the process, right? The problem, we fixate so much on the goals and we forget the process, and then our expectation become unmanageable. So here, what does it mean is, even actually breathing is called aspiration because it's a process. So breathing is a process, So that's how you're going to remember this aspiration thing. So in aspiration, there is intention to get something. There's intention, and there's effort, and also there is results. But where are we focusing? With aspiration, we are focusing on the intention and effort to act on our intention. So we are going to get the results, but we are not so much concerned with the results. But with expectation, the biggest focus is more, our energy we invest so much on the results and we don't focus much on intention. So in order to manage your expectation, try to convert your expectation into aspirations. And then you are going to see every day as a process. Right? Every day is a process on what you want to get, other than just a belief to get something in the future. So in other words, there is much attachment to result in expectation. Here there's not much attachment to the result. You are just open. In other words, there's some kind of open mind. When you aspire for something, you have what you call open-mindedness. Whatever comes, I go for it. So now, apart from converting expectations to aspirations, you need also to make expectation realistic. Most people actually make unrealistic expectations, right? Unrealistic expectation when we study, right? Then when we come to studying, what unrealistic expectation we expect? I'm going to get straight A's in Chinese. Well, what if I say, okay, I'm going to do my best. Yeah? I'm going to start learning pinyin, and I'm going to practice slowly by slowly every day. Yes, so other than fixating on what are the results, which is getting an A, I'm focusing on getting a better teacher, practicing, wake up and practice. So that's very helpful. I don't know those who are in university, but you've heard about this. This is called SMART. SMART. It applies. This is for all goals. They must be specific. They must be measurable. They must be the SMART. This is realistic. This is attainable. It must be attainable, realistic. realistic, and time-bound. Time-bound. This comes in management, those who have made that word. So in other words, realistic is very, very important in this expectation. So that's how to manage them. So now, my friends, when I went to India to study, I expected to become a very good businessman. Very good businessman. And I had a lot of pressure, of course, and from my parents to be very successful. And the thing is, I tried my best. Right? I tried my best. And then I decided to say, oh, I'm going to do MCom, Masters in Commerce, I should do MBA, and all these expectations. But my expectations were not founded on my meaning of life, right? So because my expectation was not grounded on meaning of life, they all crashed one time when I found meaning in life. You see? So in other words, once you find meaning in life and meaning in your studies, and then you are going to have realistic expectations. And they're going to be very specific. Very specific. And then you can, because what you're doing now is very interesting, you are going to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this much chunk of whatever I got, so this is my focus, and then you can move on. So in other words, you can manage very well your expectation. So we go to another idea. There's another idea that came up. Imbalanced life. Okay, how to actually handle what we call maintaining a balanced lifestyle. To maintain a balanced lifestyle is also very simple, right? You have to practice what we call equanimity. 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 This is what you have to do in order to, if your balance is, your lifestyle is out of balance, you have to balance it. You have to balance it. All right? So you have to put 10 kilos here and 10 kilos. Don't put 5 and 10 kilos here. So you have to always to bring to balance. This is the kind of balance you need, right? Equanimity. So now, equanimity, it's a beautiful term because you are not allowing excesses. Excesses. If you are living on extremes, then you are going to have problems. And there is a beautiful saying, I think it's in Alcohol Anonymous. It says that, "Oh Lord, allow me to accept what I cannot change. Give me serenity to accept things that I cannot change, and to have courage for things that I can't change, and then know the difference. Have wisdom to know the difference." That's equanimity. You see, the problem why we live an imbalanced life is actually to try to change things that you cannot change. Like maybe the professor, maybe the way he teaches his lifestyle, the way, his teaching style is different, because all professors are not the same, at least from my studies, I remember. Some professors, they don't give notes, sometimes they don't give handout, and then we want to change them, and you can't change them. And then you will lose, because we cannot change them. And then, of course, there's so many things we try to change, and then that's when we try, our life is become imbalanced. Our lifestyle become imbalanced because we try to change things that we cannot change, right? We have to try to see things we can change, and then we change them, right? So, but imbalance usually comes in terms of time, how we use our time at the university. We actually don't plan. We don't plan our time, and you see, when you don't plan your time, other people plan it for you. If you don't plan your work and work your plan, you see other people and events will plan it for you. So it's very, very important to balance your time I think most of the imbalance comes in our life is time, work. I think that's where the problem comes. I don't think you are so much worried about your money, whereby you have excessive income over expenditure. That's not your problem, I think. You're all loaded, maybe. So it's about time. You don't have enough time to do things, so it's some kind of imbalance, right? So you always feel pressured. So get into a very good schedule. Plan your work and work your plan. Then you will not have this imbalance of life. Don't rush. Slow down. Slow down is a very good practice to slow down. And of course, some of the things that I would like to tell you is about mindfulness practice. Try to practice mindfulness practice, because with mindfulness you are going to see where the imbalances are, where the excesses are. So that's very helpful. And I know some of you are meditating already. That helps you to check what's going on in excess. If you don't meditate and you become mindless, you are going always to live in extremes. You're not going to notice that there's imbalances in life. Yeah, so mindfulness is a very, very good practice that's going to help you. Now, but if you live a balanced life, you should have no stress. But if it's in balance, of course, you're going to have stress. Now, stress is very, very common when you are studying at the university, especially exams. When the exams are coming, then because we have been not planning our time very well, then we try to put everything in the last moment. And we start reading until midnight, or the whole night. I know when I was in school in Uganda, we had a person who was reading the whole night. And guess what? He didn't pass because he was so stressed out. He didn't pass very well compared to other students who were just moderate in their time. He just actually got average marks. I remember very well. So he was so stressed. I learned when there's a stress in my life, I approach it in two ways. One, physically and mentally. Physically, take exercises. Go and do some exercise, running, walking around the park. And actually, when you walk in nature, you are going to have, you see, when you walk in nature, there's some kind of happiness that comes. Scientifically, they have proved this. Going to in nature and go for a walk, actually, affects our brain, and the centers in the brain that are responsible for happiness, they actually light up green like this. But going in walks like in the cities, it doesn't help so much when it comes to happiness. They say that it was lighting up sorry people who are in Melbourne, but the good thing is Melbourne has a very good botanical garden. You can always go there when there's a lot of stress. That's why probably they built that one. They say really actually walking in a building, tall building, and all these buildings, and this concrete and all this. So it doesn't have the same effect as going to Melbourne Park, right? It's not having the same effect. So go for a walk. Do some yoga. Physically, actually, you access whenever you exercise, it will beat stress. Right? Go for swimming, any kind of exercise. Meditation, do walking meditation. Do walking meditation. Then, in terms of mental stress, these few things will help you. These things will help you. When there's stress, first thing, recognize it, and then investigate, and then let it go. So this is more mindfulness. Mindfulness of stress. All right, stress. And then try to, this is more attitude. What's your attitude when stress comes? What's your attitude? Are you trying to push it away? Are you trying to indulge in it? Are you trying to ignore it? Or are you trying to understand it? So in other words, accepting it is very, very important. Why is acceptance? It's more of an attitude. What's your attitude when there's stress? What's your attitude? Your attitude should be of understanding it, trying to understand the causes of stress. What are the causes of stress? Right? Then you start to investigate what's happening to that stress. Is it increasing? Is it increasing or decreasing or staying the same? And then let it go, you let it go. All right? Don't identify it. Non-identification, non-identification, identification. With stress, of course, right? With stress. So, really, this is how to go. This is the mindfulness practice right here. Recognition. As soon as stress comes, just recognize the stress arising. Right? Then, don't push it away. Don't indulge in it. Don't have what you call this kind of judgmental idea, judging yourself, that again, I'm the person who's always stressed. Then investigate what's going on in your body and mind. This investigation is part of your mind, this investigation. This is given mostly in books, actually. Investigation, 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 in terms of how it's changing and all these things, and let go of the identification with the stress, right? Just stress as something arising and changing, it's a state, right? So this is a very, very important thing. So now, you have approached it with the body, and then the body is okay, relaxed, and then you try to practice meditation in order to overcome stress. Actually, stress, if it's a little stress, can help us to pump in adrenaline and to help us go out from danger and all these things. But if it's excess stress, when it's excess stress, it becomes counterproductive. Let's say you're a person who is a public speaker, and then you get a little bit dose of stress. It helps you to really feel confident. Even examination, if there's a little dose, it helps you to go and grab your books and read, you know. But if it excess, it gets in a way, and then you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. You become immobile, and then it becomes counterproductive. So then, this is the way how to deal with the stress. Now, then there is another area also you talked about how to deal with the peer pressure. Peer pressure. Right, peer pressure is also very common at the university. Peer pressure. So it's also easier to deal with peer pressure. Oh, come on, let's have a drink. Take a middle path. You know the Buddha taught the middle path? Little, no problem. Okay, if you cannot take a middle path, take the higher middle path. They keep on improving. So now, then you say, okay, no, a little bit, okay, maybe problem, no problem. Then you join people. And then let's do this. I'm telling you, for me, when I was at the university, I found out that actually the people you associate with can influence you a lot. The people you associate with influence you a lot. This reminds me of somebody who was associating with the fishermen and starts thinking and smelling fish. And then the Buddha said, what do you expect? If you associate with a fisherman, you are going to smell fish. So now, association is very important. So in other words, choose your friends wisely. The first thing, choose your friends wisely. You have no idea how much influence your friends are going to have, how much influence your friends have on you. I'm telling you. That's why the Buddha said associating with the wise is a blessing. Not associate with the wise. Of course, where are you going to draw the line? That this person is unwise and this is not wise. I just take the middle way. Is that okay? Even if you have to associate with an unwise person, at least do it out of compassion. Do it out of compassion. All right? So anyway, somebody who's always, of course, somebody who's not wise is somebody who's doing something that leads to his or her own suffering. If somebody is doing anything that leads to his own or her own suffering, or the suffering of others and suffering of both, that's not a wise person. And somebody who's wise is doing something that leads to happiness for oneself, happiness for others, and happiness for both. That person we can say is a wise person. Right? So choose your friend that is actually matched with your values and interest. All right? Somebody who have similar values and similar interests. That will help you to, even if somebody has a peer pressure, maybe the peer pressure is to go to meditate. That's not bad. But if the peer pressure is always to go to something else which is going to lead you to suffering, then that's not very good. So choose your friends wisely. Another thing, establish boundaries. Right? Choose your friends. Choose friends wisely. Choose friends wisely. Then boundaries. Boundaries. Know your boundaries. Right? Know your boundaries. What area are you allowing people to come? Right? You know, like you're having boundaries. Don't build fences around you, but psychologically, you know which things you're going to do and which you're not going to do. And don't be afraid to say no. Right? Don't be afraid to say no, but say it in a very loving way. Yeah, let's go for party. You know, you associate with some people, they are party animals. Do you have party animals here? Party animals? So then you say, let's go for it. And you say, you know, I like you going with you, and I like that you really enjoy it. But for me, maybe I'd rather actually sleep. I need some sleep. Sometimes it's better to express, you know, in terms of your needs, right? Maybe I need a little bit of sleep. Instead of saying, no. No. Can we go to the party? No. Then you become Miss No or Mr. No, right? But actually try to say no in terms of positives, right? So that's, I think, is very, very helpful. But there's nothing that's going to help you to overcome peer pressure than defining your goals yourself. What are your goals? Are they well defined? Because if you have goals, then you have a backbone. When I was in school, people who didn't have, who were going everywhere and everywhere, we said they don't have backbone. You know, when you don't have a backbone, you are going this way, the wind blows, you go this way. The wind blows this way. And so we said that you don't have a backbone, so you should have a backbone, right? Backbone. When you have a backbone, you can sit like this. Imagine, can you make a snake sit like this? No. So why are you always like this? Okay, let's go to party. Let's go for a drink. You are wobbling all the time. So when you have goals, which are smart again, your goals should be smart. All right? Then actually, you are not going to have a lot of peer pressure. You're not going to be too much pressurized. Of course, you have to go when you feel that this is serving your goals. Okay, what's a goal? You came here. Is it not to study? Get your degree? So maybe don't buy into things that doesn't lead to your goal, right? That's leading away from the goal. So that's not maybe the time to actually go until you have fulfilled your goals. All right. But of course, sometimes you have to go because you're studying. Otherwise, you feel lonely. You feel left out. But I think don't go against your will, right? In other words, don't buy into this situation. Everybody's going. You see, people who are under peer pressure, people will tell you, you know, everybody's gone. So this kind of everybody is gone, and because you're going because everybody has gone, never buy into that, right? Be ready to stick out. Okay, from peer pressure, we go to loneliness. Loneliness is also another problem in school, and especially when you're a person who's saying no all the time. That means friends are going to leave you behind. So you're not going to have any friends. They will abandon you, they say every time he says no. So now what can we do? So with loneliness, it's not actually more of the fact that there's no people around. Many people are lonely even when there are people around. When you are in a crowd, also you can feel actually lonely. It's not about being surrounded by all people actually around you. It's actually feeling. And since it's a feeling itself, again, the best way to overcome it is recognition. It comes to before what I talked about. Okay. Remember I talked about RA, rain, right? Again, it's the same thing. Recognize it. Recognize loneliness as loneliness because it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling of sadness, having no companionship. So try to recognize it. Then accept that it's part of as a human being to sometimes to have loneliness. Most times people don't accept that fact. It's a fact. You are born alone. You are born alone and you die alone. So accept it as a fact of life and investigate. How does it feel loneliness? How does it feel? Investigate. And also, don't identify yourself with loneliness. This stands for non-identification. Don't identify with it. Or in other words, let go. Let's say let go. Here, let us put it in a simple term. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go of loneliness. Try to let go. Right? So most people don't let go. Loneliness. Right? Let go. Do something about it. You have to let go of being attached that I'm always a lonely person in life. I will never make friends because I'm not beautiful, because I'm not handsome, because I'm not a doctor. Actually, talking about having said no and then you lose friends, and most people actually don't say no when there's peer pressure. As I told you, these are connected because they're afraid to be alone, actually. But what's the problem with being alone? You can choose solitude. Solitude is actually a voluntary decision to be alone, which is okay, right? No problem. So now I have a saying that I learned one time when I said no. I'm not worried about saying no because I feel loneliness. I just say no. It goes like this. Think and feel the way you like because people who matter don't mind and people who mind don't matter. Right? So now, if people ask me something and then they are trying to live my life, I say, okay, fine. I found out actually people who really are your friends, they like you as you are, not as what they want you to be, right? You understand? They will, even you say no, they will respect it. And they will always come in your life. But if you are going to say always yes to everything, then you are going to have no backbone, and then people will always tear you into pieces. You will not even concentrate on your studies because you always want to be good and kind and pleasing people. You see, this comes a problem of trying to please others, try to please the whole world. No. Think and feel what you like. Because people who matter don't mind, and people who mind don't matter. Are you going to remember this? You can ask a question later on about it, but it's very interesting. And then, basically, what you have to do first with mindfulness practice. Okay, with mindfulness practice works with attention. Paying attention to loneliness. And with loving kindness meditation, I don't know if you have heard the word about metta, loving kindness. So my loving kindness is about connection. So in other words, to beat loneliness, you need these two things. One is attention, Another one is connectedness. You connect to all beings, right? Attention is with mindfulness practice. This mindfulness, and this is loving kindness. Loving kindness. Meditation. These are meditations. Meditation. Okay, with this kind of loving kindness, what it does, it expands the circle. Loneliness, it shrinks the circle. With loving kindness, may I be well, happy, and peaceful. It starts from here. You expand the circle. May my friend be well, happy, and peaceful. Then, this is yourself, then friends, teachers, right? You don't have to walk everywhere. Just sit in one place or walk. When you're walking, you keep on expanding the circle to neutral people. The neutral people who are neither friendly and unfriendly. You keep on expanding your circle to difficult people. People who are difficult in your life. And then you expand it to what we call friendly people, all beings in the entire world. So we monks we are not married, and also we don't. We live in a monastery. We're not with our relatives, extended family. Are we lonely? No, we practice loving kindness. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. Then you feel happy and peaceful. Then you expand your circle. May my friends be well, happy, and peaceful. Then you keep on expanding. All beings, snakes, kangaroos, wallabies, and all these things. How are you going to be lonely? Whether all the time you are inundated with all... You see? You are inundated with all these beings, right? So with loneliness, you shrink your circle. This is loneliness. And also you can't be with yourself. Okay, so then you know how to beat loneliness. And once we have, of course, overcome loneliness, we feel connected. Once we overcome loneliness, we feel connected. And when we feel connected, then we know the purpose of life is to be happy. Is reach ultimate happiness. That's the purpose of life. Because once we actually have loving kindness for all beings, and then we are seeing all beings happy. You see how this feeds into the purpose of life is to be happy, and then all beings to be happy. So you go like this. So this is what I want to offer for you tonight. Thank you very much for listening. And I've told you that's how it works. We find the meaning of life. Then you set reasonable expectations. Then you lead a balanced life. Then you have happy and joy. And then there's no peer pressure. Then you are connected with others. You find the meaning of life and studies and career because you are studying to serve others, isn't it? That's why you are studying to serve yourself and others. So here it all fits into the whole picture. Thank you very much for listening. And now I'm going to open it for question and answer session. 45 minutes over. So I want to leave you 15 minutes for questions. Okay. Please ask.
Can you, with mindfulness practice, how young can you practice? Like what age?
So how long can you, sorry? How
can you be too young?
Too young to practice mindfulness?
Yeah.
You don't want to teach mindfulness to 1 year, 1 day old baby. That's definitely too young.
Because at my son's primary school, they actually, every morning, they have mindfulness. They don't call it mindfulness meditation, they call it mindfulness practice. So everyone sits quietly or lies down on the floor, and then on the a loudspeaker, there'll be a person reading out what to do. So basically, it's just mindfulness practice in the morning. So some of them are quite young, like preps like they're 5-year-old. They've done it for 1 term already, and they're still continuing this term.
So what's your feeling about that?
I think it's great, but I don't think it's going to benefit everyone. Because I think they don't, as you said, they're not at the stage where they can understand what the meaning of life yet, or they the purpose of life. I think it benefited my son a lot, but he doesn't consciously know that.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for asking this question. I've already taught 3 schools since I came here. 3 schools, even on Monday I was teaching a school in Dalesford. Dalesford, there's a Dhamma schools. I teach kids there who are even like 3 years, I don't know, 4 years, and I taught in Kararinda, I taught in Caulfield, South Primary School. Yes, you can teach mindfulness to kids actually, but how you teach them is very important. Like for me, what I was doing when I was teaching children, I teach them in a very playful way. I tell them, okay, let us put a finger here. You can also do that. We put a finger in our nose like this, and they breathe out, breathe out, and then they feel the breath on the finger, and then I say, how is the breath? Oh, warm. And I say, the breath is cold. Oh, the breath is touching. That's already mindfulness. Already, you're not going to tell them sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. Yeah. No. You give them an activity. And don't tell them to watch the breath like this. We adults, we can do that.
Yeah.
But don't the children, when everybody is doing it, because they have never seen other kids doing it, so it becomes fun looking at their fellow kids doing like this. And sometimes I tell them to hold the tummy like this, then breathe in, breathe out. So then it's physical. And then last month I was teaching them like this. Breathing in, go up, breathing out, like this. Breathing in, breathing out. Then some of them did like this. And then any kid can do this. Because this takes only maybe 3 seconds. But at that moment, we did it. It's amazing all kids who are present now. Actually, because I was giving a talk about human rights and universal responsibility, such a tough subject for kids anyway. But so the kids started actually doing like this, wobbling, doing like this. I knew that I've lost their attention. I said, okay, let us do something. I'd like you all to do like this. Don't say like a meditation or mindfulness. No, let us do something like this. Please all put your finger like this. So now all they don't know what I'm going to tell them. And now I tell you, bring your finger and then breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Kids can do it. Any kid can do this. Without telling them what they're doing, they do it. And then you ask them how they feel. They start raising their hand. I feel peaceful. I feel calm. Before they were just actually all over, that was actually a long lecture for kids to sit. But of course I interrupted it, but I found out they were just losing it. So yes, you can teach children. But you teach loving kindness more. When you are meditating, put them on your lap, and then practice mental loving kindness. May I be well up and peaceful. Then, when you are teaching this again, don't teach it in an abstract way. Let them hold hands like this. Okay, hold your hands, mom, dad, and you hold the hands, and then may I be well up and peaceful. May my mom be well up and peaceful. And then they are in a circle. So it becomes very interesting. If it's boring, they will hate meditation forever. So in other words, it's not too late to teach children meditation. You can start it with very few things. They even now play games and all these things for mindfulness.
At high school they do it as well. At high school, there's a high school next door.
Yes.
And some teachers actually offer meditation to the students. And
right.
They actually enjoy it because they use it to relieve stress.
Yes. Yeah, it's in a school now here. In fact, now I have to teach 2 more schools, I think. It's here. It's here to stay. In fact, the kids, they are even trained some kids to teach others. Yeah, and I had it at Melbourne University, there's a mindfulness program to train teachers. I don't know, I have to explore this. They told me it's here in Melbourne. Yeah, they told me already. Okay, another question.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about how to let go of things, how to let go of unpleasant things. And more importantly, sometimes we have to let go of things that we like very much, but because we cannot have them. So for me, I find it very difficult to let go the unpleasant things and the nice things. So I need your advice.
Okay, the thing is about letting go, until we connect how much we are suffering, until we found out how much the things we're holding on that bring suffering, then we cannot let it go. Until then, first we identify what's going on, how much do I suffer? And once we find out there's some degree of stress, then you have to let it go. That's what we do. Have you ever touched something hot? Have you ever touched something hot? Maybe a red amber, or a red brick, whatever, or a saucepan. How do you let it get saucepan, which is hot? Okay, this saucepan is hot. You find it's hot. I wonder how to let it go about this. Maybe I should go and take a course at Melbourne University 101 and figure out how to let it go. Once we connect how much suffering we are going through, we let go. Even pleasant things actually can cause suffering, but it just takes a while to find out. In fact, let's say, for instance, chocolate. You like hot chocolate. It's very pleasant. But the thought of eating chocolate, when it arises, it comes up with the stress that wasn't there in the very beginning. You see? It comes up with the stress. Where am I going to get it? Do I have enough money? Then you go in the car, open it, then you go and look for it. Maybe this shop is closed, you go on, and then you by the time you get chocolate, you've gone through a lot of suffering, which was not there in the very beginning. And what's very interesting, this is very interesting. Once we get a chocolate, or that wonderful pizza, there's that kind of happiness, there's that kind of excitement. But that excitement is just only the release of tension. Do you follow? It's just release of the tension that was not there in the beginning. So now we mistake our happiness for the pizza, that all our happiness came from the pizza. So if we didn't have a desire for pizza, there would not be stress. But since we had desire for pizza, the stress level arose. I'm sorry since we're going to have pizza, but anyway, I just gave an So that kind of release of tension is what we mistake it, and then we get hooked. We get hooked. So in other words, if you find letting go, trying to identify first if this is suffering. If let's say something unpleasant, how much suffering I'm going through. So let it go a little bit. The key is actually to let it go small chunks, small by small. We cannot let go in one time unless you are fully enlightened person. But as human beings, we have to reduce. Let's say you are going to movies 10 times, reduce it to 9, reduce it to 8, 5, 2, 1. So if you are eating pizzas every time, cut it down. If it's chocolate, cut it down slowly by slowly by slowly. So that's why it will be very easy to let it go in chunks. All right? Slowly by slowly. Reduce, slowly by slowly. Until. Last question, only one question. I think we are, yeah. One more question. I hope you understood the dependent origination of all things that you told me. I lined it up here. Yeah, because it all feeds into the system. Everything depends on each other. At least I had to connect all this together so that you know that you have to really be very careful whatever you're doing with expectation and with the meaning of life. Before you even find meaning of studies and career, try to sit down. What do I want from this life? Once you get what you want from this life, whether it's happiness or money or status or whatever, then you align your value with what you are trying to do with your studies and career. Okay, last question.
So as part of my psychology degree at the moment, I'm involved in a project on the well-being and distress among university students, in particular at Melbourne University. We just did the survey.
Right.
I wanted to ask you a perspective, insightful perspective, on what do you think would be the major thing that university could do to elevate that problem that would seem to be much higher than the average of the population. So clearly the system of the university, the competition, all that creates a situation in which there's a high level of distress and very little of the well-being, it seems.
Okay.
And what would be your, just in few words,
major
sort of cutting-edge approach to that?
Cutting-edge approach, having a society like this, this is the first step actually, because not many universities I've seen in Africa, they have this program whereby there's a Buddhist society. This is already the first step. And then you try to change change the curriculum to include what we call, instead of competition, it should be supplemented with cooperation. There should be cooperation, because competition brings a lot of suffering. So there's cooperation. Instead of mindlessness, there's mindfulness practice. So instead of just self-centered, there is more social harmony. There is more benefit for all the people, involved. So I think this is a first step to make sure that they introduce mindfulness program in those schools. When I was doing my bachelor's degree in Sri Lanka, one mathematics teacher always taught us mindfulness practice. We would spend like 5 minutes practice mindfulness before we studied. So I think that's what the school needs to do. Because most of these things we go through is because we don't have mindfulness. Stress, peer pressure, even loneliness, and also expectation. So once we have mindfulness program in schools, and that's why they have started it in Australia, that will change the whole scenario. In fact, when I teach children, it's amazing. That's not the same class that I was learning in Uganda. It's not the same setting. It's different. The children they're very smart. Children ask me questions that I'm amazed. Yeah, so the foundation is to have mindfulness program. That's your answer. Because with mindfulness, there will be cooperation, there will be attention, there will be connection, there will be all the things I've talked about, right? Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
If I can say something, because my wife is a professor here.
Right.
I think the main problem is a systemic problem. Right now, it's the corporatization of universities.
Right.
It's a huge problem because all they're talking about is money. Because where do I get money?
Yeah.
Like my wife, being professor, the requirement to get money is a lot higher than a lecturer, for instance.
Right.
And that's part of their key performance criteria.
Right.
Is to bring in a lot of money. They're constantly talking about money. And she's in the engineering department, and at one point, they actually introduced meditation and yoga.
So that maybe that explains why, because engineering department seems to be the lowest in the level of distress.
Oh, good.
It's very interesting you mentioned it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
We don't know why. We don't know
why.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We thought that maybe because it's so practical, the people are really aligned with the need. Because most of the engineers, they know earlier, I want to do something practical. They're not just, drifting in the clouds, intellectual, considerations all the time.
I think there's more caring people in engineering.
Well, that's actually more than that.
For instance, the medical department, a lot of them are very
highly stressed.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh. Okay, thank you very much. I'm providing. There is no university, including Harvard, that teaches wisdom. So what they teach is knowledge. So they should start wisdom. They should have more Dhamma, less drama. Okay. Okay, yeah, Dharma, okay, because I want the R there. Happiness, not all the money equals to happiness. So, and then more cooperation, competition should be supplemented, competition should be supplemented with cooperation. Cooperation, that means examination is not the final judgment. Actually, there should be assessment system, assessment. For me, examination should maybe carry 10%. I was at Harvard. In fact, I was applying to go to Harvard. So I went to take some few courses there. I was surprised that Pali examination was a home exam. And for us, we were sweating bullets in Sri Lanka to look. So I was so surprised. I thought Harvard is the best school. And they would just have a home examination when it came to Pali. So I found out actually the best performance is actually people presenting during the class without examination. For me, in fact, I support this very much. I was teaching, as a monk, I was teaching my fellow student about Buddha concept. But I'm very sure that I'm not going to do justice myself to examination because I misread the question. So the student I taught, they're going to pass better than me. I was the one who teaching them. So examination is not a better assessment of somebody's intelligence. So, okay, these are 4 points that I'm giving you. 5, lastly, mindfulness programs. Mindfulness program. There must be a paradigm shift. And mindless programs. Mindless. They should cut mindless programs. All right? So, make it more fun also. More fun. Learning should be more fun. Yeah, more fun. Make it joyful. Make learning joyful. That means they make extracurricular activities, right? So that it's a relaxed environment. And then this kind of learning like this, they should be in round circles, like this, round. People should sit around so that they actually, this format is not good. This format is good. So that means that people learn as a family. Not just get a degree and a paper and go home. So this is a few things that I can suggest. There are so many of them, but I think that's what I can say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Okay.
I guess we all ready now to get some pizza since you mentioned
Yes.
the fragrance is irresistible.
Yes, thank you very much.
To share some pizza with you guys, stay along and mingle a bit and share your thoughts and ideas, etc. Thank you very much for coming.
Also, if I could quickly add some
it's
few
close.
things. Thank you very much, Bhante. We're quite honoured. It was an incredibly insightful talk today, and just like to everyone, another round of applause. Thank you for taking the time. Certainly for me, even the fact of just sitting in a room for 1 hour and not having to worry about studies and taking a break, even that's quite calming. So that was beneficial for me at least. But certainly, yeah, we do have some food at the back, but I just want to add a few things. This event wouldn't be possible without the support of City Zen, and Vali's here. So City Zen is a youth group based at the Buddhist Society of Victoria. They've recently just started, and they're focusing on basically fostering a community amongst youths who practice Buddhism or interested in learning more about Buddhism, and I guess building that community around that topic. And they certainly run a range of events, so they have social dinners, they do various activities. Last week they had a talk at BSV about Pokemon Go and the hidden Buddhist lessons behind Pokemon Go. I was quite surprised. There are some things to take out of that. So if you are interested in getting involved in that, please do speak to Vali. I know she has some brochures as well. And in terms of the Buddhist Studies Society here at Melbourne, if you haven't signed the form at the back, please do sign that with your student number if you're a university student, because that allows us to get funding from the student union, which allows us to pay for the room hire and buy food and such things, so we can make this accessible for everyone. And also, at the moment, the society and the club is moving through a transition stage. So for the last few years, our treasurer Harry and our president Lydia have really been running the show, and unfortunately Lydia's graduated from Melbourne Uni, so she can't really attend to the society anymore. So we've got some fresh blood in, and we've got an entirely new committee, but it'd be great if we could have some more support. So if you're interested in getting involved in running events, organising talks, or you have any ideas you want to put forward, certainly come speak to any of us in our t-shirts. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. It's not a huge time commitment. It's only about an hour per week, but certainly it would be amazing if we can have some support in terms of that. But I won't leave you waiting. There's pizza at the back, but thank you very much for coming, and thank you, Bhante, again, for coming and giving us this really amazing